Hi, I'm Paul, and in today's video, I'll show you how to customize the Obsidian Interface Menu. This will speed up your workflow and reduce friction when taking notes. By the end of this video, you'll have full control over your Obsidian interface. Join me as we customize the Obsidian Interface Menu. Exploring the core interface. Start off by jumping into Obsidian. We'll navigate down to the settings menu, and under options, we'll select appearance. Just have a look at what we can customize in the default state. So we can see here we can show online title on or off. We can show the tab title bar, which is the little tab up the top here, or the name of our note. We can show or hide the ribbon on the left-hand side, or we can customize the ribbon menu by selecting manage, and then we can either drag our commands to reposition them down on the left-hand side, or we can remove them completely. So by default, Obsidian allows us to reposition the files, the search, and the bookmarks links up the top here by clicking and dragging. We can collapse and open the left pane. We can click and drag to make the left pane wider or more narrow. We can hide the ribbon by right-clicking, hiding the ribbon, and we can hide particular commands here. Since the release of version 1.6, whenever we collapse the left pane, we lose access to the settings cogwheel. It would be nice if the developers brought this back. For now, we have to open and click the cogwheel. We could get around this by putting a quick add shortcut up here on the ribbon. If we look over to the right-hand pane, we can left click to close, left click to expand, then we can left click and make this wider or more narrow. If we want to reposition the calendar, we can click and drag, and we're just holding down the left mouse button until it highlights where we want to place it. Then we let go of the mouse button, and that repositions our calendar. So we've got a few places we can reposition it, and then we can move this down if we want to make it further to the bottom, and same goes for over to the right hand side. We can click and drag to reposition our backlinks, outgoing links, our tags, or our outline. Besides that, we don't really have much more control. So in order to fully customize our Obsidian interface, we need to leverage some community plugins. Installing community plugins. So we'll jump into community plugins and we'll head up to browse. And we're just going to type in Commander. Select Commander, select install, select enable. Now we have the Commander plugin installed. The Commander plugin is going to allow us to customize all of the Obsidian interface. Next plugin is going to be File Explorer Note Count. And this one's going to give us a count of how many notes we have in our folders within our vault. Hit install and enable. We're going to install folder notes. Hit install, then enable. Now we have our community plugins installed. We will now move on to the fun part, customizing our interface. Customizing the interface. The first plugin we'll look at is Commander. We'll jump into the options, and then we're presented with a few tabs up the top here. Looking at the options here, it's not very clear where the ribbon, the tab bar, the status bar, the editor menu, the file menu, the explorer, the toolbar, or the macros are located on our interface. I'm going to include this cheat sheet in the video description, which will assist you in familiarizing yourself with these locations. So on the General tab, it's going to ask us whether we want to always ask before removing a command. So we can either toggle that on or off. By default, it's on. We can show the add command button in every menu. So this is just going to give us the option to add commands within every menu inside Obsidian. You can choose the custom spacing for command buttons. There's a little link for feedback and a little support link for Johnny and Filber here to support their work. First one we'll look at is the ribbon. So if we jump into the ribbon tab, expand, hide other commands, we can see the existing commands that are listed on the left-hand ribbon here. So we can toggle these on or off. So if we were to just hide them all, that's going to get rid of everything in our ribbon. And then we can either add the commands that we want here, or we can just toggle on the ones that we want here. So if we want to keep create new canvas, we could leave that one on. Open graph view, we can turn that one on. Quick switcher, we can turn that one on. Open today's daily note. Well, we've got our little calendar here to do the daily note, so we can leave that one off. Insert template. That could be useful. We could leave that one on. Open the command palette. That's a useful icon to have. Open random note. Manage workspaces. Templater we don't probably need, and open today we don't really need either. So you can see already I've eliminated 1, 2, 3 commands that I don't wish to have in the left-hand ribbon. If I want to add an additional command, I can hit command here, and then I can type in this community plugin here, quick add. I can select quick add, and then I can choose an icon for that ribbon command. So I'll use the file plus here, and then I'm going to hit save. Now I have the quick add run quick add command on my ribbon, and you can see it over to the left-hand side there. If I want to remove it, I just hit the delete. And if I want to add a new command, then I can hit a new command there. Say I want to put in like a rename file, I can put rename file and then hit save. And now I have a little icon or a little pencil. If I want to change the icon, I can select it there and change it. But I quite like that one, so I'll keep that one. So now I have 2 custom commands on my ribbon. So the next one is the tab bar. So the tab bar is up here to the right-hand side where the 3 dots are here. So we could do something like source mode. So instead of clicking our 3 dots and then selecting source mode, we just put source mode and then we hit save. And it's going to choose the icon it thinks that we might like. In this case, it looks like code, which is quite suitable. So we can see it's placed it up there in the tab bar. Could also add another command such as rename file, which is quite a handy one to have. So we'll save that one up there. Now we have a rename file. We might want to put a command to move our file into one of our folders. So we can go move current file to another folder. So now we've got 3 commands there. We've got 1 to change the source mode, 1 to rename the file, and 1 to move it into a folder. So this is going to be quite handy just as a little quick click to do what we want it to do. So I'm quite happy with that. The next one we'll look at is the status bar. So the status bar is down to the right-hand side here with our little power icon here. So we could potentially double up and put a quick add down there as well. So I'm going to put a quick add down there, and then I'm going to use the same icon as I did before, which is the file plus. So I can add more commands down there if I like. I can hide the default commands that are down on the status bar, which are editor status, word count, backlink, and plugin update tracker. So this is a community plugin installed in this version of Obsidian. So that just tells me when a plugin update comes out. If I hide that one, it hides it down the right-hand side there. The next one we'll look at is the editor menu. So the editor menu is when you're in a file and you right-click and it brings up the editor menu. I'm just going to create a new note. We'll call this one Commander Demo. Now we've got a note, and then if I right click, it reveals the editor menu. So you can see here I've got a little button now that says add command. So I don't need to go into the plugin to add a command here. I can just simply hit add command, and then I could put like a split down, and I could save that one. Now I have a split down in my editor menu. I might want to put a split right. So now when I right click, I can left click and now I have a split right. And now when I right click and left click, I have a split down without having to touch the keyboard. So that's going to improve my workflow. We'll jump back into Commander and we'll look at the next tab, which is File Menu. So File Menu is your 3 dots up the top right here. So if we close out of Commander and click our 3 dots, we can see here is our file menu. Once again, we don't need to go into the Commander plugin. We can simply select Add Command here. So we can add, and we could put a command that we already have, or we could just put the split right in there again. And we can change the icon, rename, or delete it from here. So I'm just going to delete it. It's going to ask me, am I sure that I want to delete the command? I've got this option of remove and don't ask again. We'll just go remove. Say we didn't want to jump down into our settings menu here and then click into Commander. What we could do is we could right click, add command, type in command, and then open Commander settings. And it's going to ask us which one. Go with the settings cogwheel, and then we'll hit save. So now instead of clicking down here, going to the command and then clicking again, we can right click and then go open Commander settings. Now we have Commander settings up here. So that's a quick way of getting there. So that's 2 clicks instead of 3 clicks. So now we have the Explorer. So the Explorer is this little section up here. So by default, we have our main 2 that we use, which is create a new note and create a new folder. We might want to have another one on the end here. So we'll just click add command. So then we could do something like export to PDF, and then we'll select file, hit save on that. And now we have a little icon to export to PDF. So any note that we're working on, we can click to export to PDF. The next tab is toolbar. Now toolbar is only available in the Obsidian mobile. So we'll skip that for this video. And the last one is macros. This one works similar to the quick add plugin. So if we click on add macro, it's going to ask us what we'd like to name our macro. We'll just call this one new note split right. And then we're going to add a command and we're going to type in new note. So the first step is it's going to create a new note. And then we want to add a delay. We can adjust this to whatever we would like in milliseconds. Just leave it as the default. And then I'm going to hit another command. I'm going to go split right. So now I have my 2 commands under my macro. I could auto run this on startup, which I won't do for now, but this one is really useful if you want to focus on telling your brain what to do when you first log into Obsidian. So in this case, we'll hit save. Now we have a new macro called new note split right. Open up our command palette, type in commander, and then we have our new note split right. So we can select that one, and now it's going to create a new note and split it to the right. You could go one step further and then add that macro to a custom icon on any of the places on the interface that we've already covered. For example, you can open Commander and say we want to put a little icon down on the status bar. We'd hit add command, type in Commander, grab our macro, which is new note split right, and then we're going to give it a icon, this one here, and then we hit save. So now we have our Commander macro placed down here on our status bar. So it's quite a powerful plugin, and once you figure out your workflow, then you can decide how you want to set it up to be more efficient inside Obsidian. Indexing folders and note count. We'll now look at the folder notes plugin. We'll jump into the community plugins. We'll navigate down to folder notes. It looks quite overwhelming inside the options here. You've got a lot of customizations to choose from. I'm going to show you exactly what this plugin does. If I open up my spaces folder, you can see I have my learning folder here. I'd like to create an index page for all my learning notes without having to create a map of content. So with this plugin, I can right click, go down to folder note commands, and I'm presented with 3 options. I can exclude folder from folder notes. I can create a markdown folder note, or I can create a canvas folder note. I want to create a markdown folder note. By default, it hides that note behind the folder. Now I have a folder note, and this is going to be my index page. I'm going to hold Windows and hit the full stop, and then I'm going to look for the up arrow. That's going to make a little house icon. I'm going to put 2 dots, and then I'm going to link back to either spaces or my inbox. Then I'm going to hit enter twice. I'm going to put 3 backticks and type data view. Then I'm going to enter my index data view query. So now I have my learning index page data view query. To render this out, hit enter again twice. And now I have all my notes from my learning folder. To repeat this process on other folders within my second brain, you can see here I've already got one for concept, and there's the data view query, and I hit enter. I've got no notes in my concepts folder yet, but as I put notes into this folder location, they're going to appear on this data view query. Same goes for ideas. That one is empty as well. We'll jump over to the Note Lab because that one's got quite a few notes in it. We can see it's given us the date as well. So we can see we've got 37 notes and we've got a little link back to About Note Lab. That could be back to a top level or back to a map of content. So we can go one step further by jumping into our settings again, and we're going to turn on File Explorer Note Count. This is the one that we installed earlier. And you can see now that's given me a count on the left-hand side here. I can toggle on the name of my vault up the top there, and it's going to show me how many notes are in the Obsidian Starter Vault Pro, which is 101. If I turn that off, then I get a smaller breakdown. I can show all the numbers, which is just going to give me the parent number 16 and then the smaller numbers in the subfolders. If I don't like that, I can turn that off. I can show only markdown notes, and that's toggled on by default. So if I wanted to see all my canvas files or image files, then I could turn that off. So that's quite a handy one to have as you start building up more notes in your vault. We'll jump back down to folder notes. We can see under the general tab, it gives us a few options to change here. We'll just go through this section quickly. By default, it's always going to call the folder note the same note as the folder. You can change that here. The default type is Markdown, but you can change it to Canvas. You can add other supported file types here. You can choose where to store the notes. By default, it hides it inside the folder. I quite like it that way. There is a shortcut, Control-click, instead of right-clicking, then creating a new folder note. Mouse click opens the note. Leave sync folder name enabled. You can open the folder note in a new tab by default. And when you create a new folder in your vault, you can toggle on this switch, which will automatically create a folder note or index page for that folder. There is an experimental create folder note for every folder. I recommend backing up your vault before running this, but this is just going to create a folder note for every folder within your vault. If we look at the folder overview, we can jump into the manage and we've got some default folder overview settings. So I don't think these need to be changed. I'd just leave them as default. You can exclude folders from this plugin. So say there's some folders in your vault you don't want to have this applied to, you can add them in here. If we look at the File Explorer tab, by default it hides the folder note. I quite like that. There is a setting to not open the folder note on mobiles. Once again, leave everything here as default unless you see something that you would like to change. Same goes for the Path tab. Leave these all as default unless you want a bold folder in the path, or cursive, the name of the folder. I think underline works quite well. I hope this video has been helpful in customizing your Obsidian interface to suit your daily workflow. With a few community plugins and a bit of tinkering, you can make Obsidian work for you. Get into laser focus mode and get things done. Let me know in the comments how you've customized your Obsidian interface. I'd love to see what you have created. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tips and tricks. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with a friend who might also benefit. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.